Just waiting. Just waiting. I'm a millennial, so I texted him that I was here, so I don't have to knock. Eventually the door will open. And we'll get the episode started. I hope this is not a reflection of what this episode's about to be like. But oh, hey,
Oh,
here he is, the
help?
Calum House special. We're coming inside.
Oh.
So this, let me get situated here. This is a very special episode of C&D Save the World because I have been privileged to get an exclusive invite to go where few people have gone before. And that, my friends, is inside Calum Devaney's house. I'm sitting outside his house right now. Very few people have been inside. I am one of the lucky ones. I have been in here before and I've made it out. Because I feel, I don't know, I have no evidence that people don't leave Calum's house, but like, something's in there to show us. So, I don't know. We'll see. I hope I make it out alive. I'm excited. So, here we go. We're in Calum's house. A Calum's house episode. Here we go.
And welcome to my home. We will be showing you my animal collection today. So, come and follow me.
Ooh, I'm so excited going into his house. Wow.
It's nothing crazy. I've got 5 animals total. And a dog, Daisy, who hopefully will appear later in the episode.
It's the only reason why I'm here.
Yeah, honestly. But yeah, so right now, obviously it's the winter time, it's cold. We don't really have much to do in the outdoors. So I thought I'd get a shot of my nice new Christmas sweater.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Christmas time.
It is Christmas time.
But I thought I would show everybody some animals in the meantime while we wait for it to warm up and we can go outside again. And I'll show you my animals.
And hopefully Daisy.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go through each one of my pets and kind of how I take care of them on a daily basis or by the week, because a lot of these guys don't really need kind of daily care other than maybe just changing water. A lot of reptiles can go quite a while without food, but I like to keep them full and happy. I've been taking care of reptiles since I was about 8 or 9, and actually this one behind me has been here since day 1. That's why we're going to start with him first. But I will say I'm a bit nervous to do this video because when it comes to pet care, especially with reptiles, which have some very specialized care, people have very strong opinions on it, and I don't want to like start any fights or anything. I like to think I'm good at what I do and taking care of these guys, but I mean, like I said, some people just have very strong opinions of how things should and shouldn't be done. So I will say, if you know a lot about animal care and specifically taking care of reptiles, I will never pretend to be a reptile keeping expert. That's not like super my forte, but I do like doing it. Please let me know with constructive criticism.
Yeah, we'll find out if we get canceled or not after we post this.
So I mean, if you have any suggestions, like please let me know. I'm always happy to add things. Right now, obviously, space is a limiting factor for me. So if these tanks you think should be bigger, that's understandable. Like my blue tongue skink, I've read and seen places that they need like a 75-gallon tank, and I just do not have the room for that. But like I said, I do the best I can, so please let me know if there's anything I should add, take out, change, whatever. But let's go one by one. This is Spotty. He is my first ever pet. So I'm going to set in the shot here for a second. Turn off the
We literally got all lined up here. Just
I know,
you put your butt right in the shot.
Yeah. So Spotty is a Leopard Gecko. He is, I think, 16 years old at this point.
Wow, he can drive.
Is right there.
He's getting his license soon.
24, and I got him at 8, so yeah, somewhere around there. They live to about like 25 in captivity, so he's still got a good amount of time. I'll take him out because he likes to hang out in this little box here. So you can see the setup I have. I'm pretty proud of it. We've got a little hide on the warm end. He's got a water dish. He's got some things to climb around on and explore. And what he's currently sitting in, this thing,
It's like his little mobile home.
it's his moist hide. So
Hi,
leopard
Spotty.
geckos, he'll come out for me. Leopard geckos live in pretty dry environments. They come from Afghanistan, Pakistan, areas like that. They don't exactly live in deserts. That's kind of a common misconception. So a lot of people will put sand in their enclosures, but really they don't kind of live on sandy soils. It's more like a mix of sand and dirt. So what I have in here is Eco Earth, which is just kind of coconut fiber.
Yum.
And I think it works really well. The moist hide is something to help them with shedding, because although they live in very hot, dry environments, you know, they'll need to shed every once in a while. So I keep this little box here with some wet paper towel to kind of help him out when he gets shedding, because the leopard geckos, a common problem for them is if they don't have the proper humidity when they're shedding, then skin will tighten around their toes and then can actually take off the tips of their toes or their toes completely.
Is your sweater threatening him?
I don't think he can tell what it is.
All right.
At least I
We'll
like
keep
to
an
think
eye
so.
on that.
As far as I know, there are no crocodiles in Afghanistan.
Well, if he attacks you, then we're gonna know why.
Yeah, I mean, true. He's also probably just tired of me at this point.
Who isn't? Just kidding. Love you.
So he's a leopard gecko. Should I turn on the light? Would that be better lighting?
Sure.
Is that better?
I don't know. Hey, everyone, was that better? Drop it in the comments.
Drop a comment. I just think to get more light on him. But this is a leopard gecko. Eublepharis macularius. They're part of the Eublepharidae family, which, as all the Latin speakers in the comments will know, that means that they have eyelids. As you can see, every once in a while he will blink.
Can you do the time warp wink challenge? That was a TikTok reference.
I'll say I wish he would do it, but now he's just not blinking.
Sad.
He's trying to prove us wrong. But geckos in general don't have eyelids. That's why you'll see a lot of geckos lick their eyeballs to keep them moist. I think that's a pretty common knowledge thing. But these guys in this family actually have eyelids, so he will blink. And that's really cool.
If you like startle him, like, then will he flinch and blink?
I mean, I'd rather not make him flinch.
Right. Pretend to flick him.
I'm not going to do that.
And that you pass the test
Of being a good pet
of being
owner.
a good pet owner.
Don't scare your animal for views. So they get the common name leopard gecko from this patterning that they have. As you can see, it's very leopard print-like. And also, if you look at their eyes, which is kind of a common thing for nocturnal animals, and especially geckos, is they have this kind of cat eyes. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera or not, but...
No, there's no eyes on the camera. It's
Okay,
just holes
well,
that go right through him.
The quality, if you could actually see the slits in their eyes. But yeah, so this is Spotty. He's a male. He used to have a female, but unfortunately she got sick a few years ago.
Rest in peace, Mrs. Spotty.
Her name was Stripey.
Obviously.
An interesting thing about leopard geckos is you can see they have this really fat tail.
Dummy thick tail.
Exactly. So they keep all of their fat in there. It's used for any time that they're going a really long time without food. So they'll store up extra stuff in here so they can digest it in times of need. But you can tell that a gecko is well fed if he's got a pretty plump tail. So
Not unlike some humans.
nice. But
Thanks.
He's not overweight though. So I think he's nice and healthy.
Good.
Another thing about leopard geckos that probably any reptile keeper would know is they're, I would say, the most common reptile pet. If
Really?
you're looking for a reptile pet, you need a beginner one. 9 times out of 10, I think people pick leopard geckos because they're just really chill and easy to care for.
He looks like he's a bro.
Yeah,
Like he's Ferda.
he's super calm.
Ferda boys.
I mean, if you take the time to handle them, get them used to you, then they're really, really chill. And they just kind of hang out. Although initially they can be skittish, and a problem that people have is if they bother their leopard gecko too much, they make them nervous or they grab them wrong.
You don't want to do that.
Their tail here, you can see this kind of indent. They can
It comes
take
right off.
their own tail off.
Oh
Yeah.
my heaven.
I think it's bodily autonomy or something. So that tail will be squeezed off by some muscles So it's meant to do that, and a lot of
They
lizards
flex on us.
have that ability to take their own tail off, and then it'll wriggle around and kind of be a distraction if predators are trying to eat them. But a lot of times it's because people are just handling them wrong or scaring them. So thankfully, Spotty has not lost his tail. I like to think that's a good sign of, my care.
Yeah.
Because when they do grow back, it is noticeable. There are some species of lizards where when the tail grows back, you can't really notice, except maybe it's shorter or like a different color than it used to be. But leopard gecko tails grow back kind of weird. They grow back a little stumpier, and sometimes they can even split into multiple ends. So you'll have like a forked tail or even like a trident of a tail. Yeah, so those are just some fun facts about the leopard gecko.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, so as far as care, like they're really easy to care for. So they eat insects and just insects. So I feed them crickets and mealworms,
I'd say we get a video of that, but isn't that like an illegal thing on YouTube?
I wouldn't. It's not illegal, but it's kind of weird.
Okay.
I'll talk about that in another video.
Right. Sorry, everyone who came here to watch lizards eat insects.
Yeah,
You're not gonna get it today.
Yeah, he's definitely full. He ate last night.
Well, I noticed his tail was looking a little bloated.
Exactly.
From his Christmas dinner.
Mm-hmm. But they eat like 2 to 3 times a week, or even once a week. He's very well fed, and he's happy. And I think that's pretty much it for him. Oh, also, another thing that sets him apart from most geckos is, how a lot of geckos can climb up walls. They can stick to pretty much anything.
Mm-hmm.
Not leopard geckos. So he is a kind of gecko where his feet do not have any sticky pads. They just end in claws.
So lame. The lamest superpower.
Wow. Well, I think he's cool. So they're more suited for climbing around on rocks in the ground. They're not really climbing straight up glass or anything. But yeah, that's the leopard gecko.
That was Spotty. Thanks for letting us in your house, Spotty.
Pet in the industry. Also, they come in crazy colors. This is like how a normal one would look, but breeders will make these guys look insane. Like literally any color you can think of. There you go. Hi, Spotty.
Bye, Spotty.
Now we move on to Curly. Curly is my ball python, which is Python regius. I think if leopard geckos are the most common reptile pet, ball pythons have to be number 2. Either that or like bearded dragons.
Obviously.
Well, most common reptile pets, if like out of order list, I would say were probably leopard gecko, ball python, bearded dragon, and then maybe crested gecko, because people have been really into breeding those.
So there you go, everybody. Got to catch them all.
Yeah.
That's your starters.
I mean, I've got 2. I used to have a bearded dragon, but I've never had a crested gecko.
Well, now I know what I'm getting you for next Christmas.
All right. Well, funny you mentioned that. A friend of ours, Molly.
Hi, Molly. Shout out. Getting the shout out.
She breeds crested geckos. And I actually, when I was pet sitting for them one time, one hatched while I was there, and they named it after me.
You're a dad.
Yeah.
You're a dad.
So this is Curly.
Wow. I feel like a lot of people are going to be stressed out seeing this one.
Oh, I hope not. Curly's just a...
This is the biggest snake that we had in hand in any of our shows.
Oh, easily, yeah.
And this is where Calum gets eaten by his pet for content.
No, she's a friendly little legless puppy, basically. Ball pythons are really, really lax. Like one of the most friendly snakes that I've ever worked with. So, say hi to the camera, Curly.
Hi, Curly. You're going to be a star.
You're going to be a star, kid.
Has Curly, now be honest,
Sure.
ever bitten anybody?
Yeah, she's bit me.
That makes me feel so much safer in this room with the door closed.
I am the only person that has been bitten by Curly, and that was just because I was being dumb. I was feeding her, and I reached my hand in too close, so she missed the mouse and got my finger.
If this gets 100 likes,
go on. I want to hear what you're trying to
we'll
promise.
let Calum get bit by Curly.
That's not going to happen.
Okay, well, we can't do that.
Because with pythons, they have some really big teeth. So even though she only just barely caught me, that thing hurt. Because their teeth are big, they're hooked, they do a lot of damage. But it was
just
only
like
one time.
Puppies.
Just like puppies, honestly. But she's never bitten again. She's really calm. It's only around feeding time. As long as you don't stick your hand in front of her face, she's fine. So as far as feeding time goes, she eats rats. I have frozen rats that I thaw for her and feed her. People will
Gross.
feed live as well. She used to eat mice, but I've switched her off because mice only get so big.
And they're going right to her thighs.
Yeah, she's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger, so she needs to move on to rats. Some people feed live, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's more dangerous for the snake, because if you have a live animal that you're feeding, there's always the risk that, fight or flight, if that mouse decides it's going to stand its ground and try to do some damage to the snake, it probably will, and it can even result in the death of your snake. So I would always recommend feeding frozen. And also I've heard for these big snakes, if you can start them off on rats, you should. I did not know that when I first got Curly. Curly's about 12 years old. She can live to be around 40, but she transitioned okay, but sometimes it can be hard for them to go from mice to rats just because they get used to the smell of them, and it's very subtle. I didn't think there'd be much of a difference between the smell of a mouse and a rat, but they can definitely tell. So they're called ball pythons, also royal pythons. They come from Africa. I think it's Western Africa. And they live on the ground. They're not the tree climbing kind of python, because you can kind of tell from their patterns that they blend in really well to a kind of dirt, leaf litter sort of habitat. They're called the ball python because their defensive technique is to curl up into a ball. So they hide their head at the bottom and then just kind of pile the rest of their body on top. And then they just form this nice little compact snake ball. And she doesn't do it that much anymore because she's used to me, so she has no reason to curl up like that. And obviously I'm not going to try to scare her to get her to do that.
Maybe if there's enough legs.
You're setting the wrong goals.
Just kidding. We would never do that.
Yeah. But yeah, she's not really going to do it. But you can see she's very strong. She's very adept at holding on to things.
Is this your most dangerous pet?
I guess I would say yes, because if I put her around my neck, she's very strong, so she could definitely give me a good squeeze. I don't usually keep her around my neck like this because it's just easier to support her body like this. That's another thing, is even though they're very strong, they're pretty much all muscle, it's better to make sure their body's fully supported and not just let them hang. Interesting thing about ball pythons and kind of the big constrictor snakes in general, when they...
Are you being attacked right now?
No, I'm not being attacked.
Calum's getting...
She's just holding on to me, but I'm trying to show the people something cool. If you look down here, see this? That's a claw.
Whoa.
So on either side of her vent here.
Her vent?
Where she poops.
Calum, this is a family show.
It's educational.
You have to pay for that content.
Educational.
On the Only Pets.
Nice.
Okay, nobody steal that.
So, pythons and boas are kind of seen as primitive snakes. People think this is kind of the body plan of what a prehistoric snake looked like, and that's why pythons and boas have these residual legs, like a pelvis. But that's pretty highly debated, and actually the placement of pythons and boas in the evolutionary tree of snakes is just really unknown. People have been arguing about it forever, and we still don't super know where they belong. But it's a cool thing to point out anyways, because the assumption is no snakes have legs, and that's true, but they do have some remnants of kind of a pelvis and some little claws, which is cool. And they kind of use those during mating to make sure they stay attached. What else can I say about you? If you look close to her face...
If you get close to her face... Curly, come here.
If you look close to her face along her lips, you see these kind of holes.
Wait, where's she going?
Sorry, there you go. See those holes on her face? So those are pits that she uses to detect heat. So she's got all kinds of special senses. I think we've talked about in the past how snakes will flick their tongue to pick up scent particles in the air.
So she's just been smelling us this whole time?
Yeah. And when...
Well, I apologize, Curly, because it is hot in here, and I'm a big guy.
It's fine. I think she'll get used to it. But she uses that forked tongue to pick up the scent particles in the air. She pulls it back, puts it into the roof of her mouth where the Jacobson's organ is. The Jacobson's organ just kind of identifies those scent particles that she's picking up. And because she has a forked tongue, she can tell which direction the smell is, left or right. But she also has these heat pits, which help her detect prey items and things. So that's why when I heat up a mouse or a rat that's been frozen, it's easier for her to see it if I make it hot. So if I put it in hot water, she'll be able to spot it easy.
Gross.
Like I said, ball pythons are super common pet. And just like leopard geckos, they're bred for all kinds of things, different colors and patterns. They can come in really crazy colorations. But this is kind of what your general ball python is going to look like if you find one in the wild.
So how big is Curly versus how big she will get?
So Curly right now, I would say, is like maybe 3 feet. And female ball pythons can get to around 6 feet. Males usually stay close to like 4 or 5. So she's still got some growing to do.
So will this tank need a future upgrade? Or will that suffice?
I would definitely like to get a bigger tank. People say that ball pythons can live in pretty small spaces because they just kind of curl up. They don't move around too much. But at the same time, I'd rather give her the option than just say she's probably fine.
You're such a good dad.
I like to think so. So I like to give her enough space to stretch out as much as she can. Obviously, a bigger tank would be, optimal. But again, I'm kind of limited by space here. So this is what she's going to hang out in for now until she maybe grows another half foot, and then I'll start looking into something bigger for her. But yeah, that's the ball python.
Thanks for letting us play with you, Curly.
You're welcome.
Hey guys, I think Calum locked me in the bathroom. I said earlier, I don't know if people get out of here or not, but I'm currently locked in the
What are you doing?
No, I'm not. Nothing. I'm not doing anything. Come on, let's go do things. Well, that is probably all the time we have for part 1 of this video. Daisy, can you move? Oh my gosh, the only reason why I'm here.
Sniff my face.
So, stay tuned for part 2 if we need it. Maybe we'll have some Daisy in it.
Daisy.
Oh, but she's a scaredy baby, so maybe not.
Baby.
Anyway,
Okay,
Daisy, thanks for coming. I love you. You're the reason why I'm here. Catch part 2 next week or tomorrow or whenever that happens.
whatever.